Tearin'. It's tearin' time. Today I am tearing every single album that I have reacted to on this channel. If I scroll down here, you'll be able to see this is every single album I've done a video on, reacted to in the past, year and a couple months, I guess. So this is going to be pretty fun. I'm pretty excited for this. Tiers 10, 8 to 9, 6 to 7, 4 to 5, 2 to 3, 0 to 1. AKA the MGK tier, maybe the AJR tier. We'll see how it goes. I should have done this in chronological order, but you know what? Whatever. It's fine. Veteran, this is one of the first albums that I reacted to. I honestly don't return to this album that much. It's probably still in the 8 to 9 range for me, though, because it is extremely experimental, extremely forward-thinking and boundary-pushing in terms of hip-hop in general. Peggy has great performances on it. It's hilarious. And the beats are absolutely insane. So yeah, 8 to 9 feels fitting for Peggy's Veteran. The next one here is Year of the Snitch by Death Grips. This I actually enjoyed quite a bit for a first listen to a Death Grips album. It's probably also in the 8 to 9 range. It's probably below Veteran, but it's still freaking great. I mean, it's Death Grips. It's gonna be good. It's not their best project, but it's still pretty freaking good. Playboi Carti, Die Lit. This is probably my favorite Playboi Carti record, and it's probably, I had it in kind of the 8 sort of range. It's probably more in the high kind of 7 range for me now. Again, it is his best project in my opinion, but it does lack a little bit of substance, obviously, because it is Playboi Carti. Even though that's not really what you come to him for, it's just hard to get an extreme amount of enjoyment for me out of it when there's not too much substance to it, but it is fun music in general. So yeah, 6 to 7, probably high 7 for that one. Government Plates by Death Grips. This was another solid Death Grips album right here. One that people don't seem to like that much, but I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. It's probably... Do I like it more than Year of the Snitch? I think I might. I think I might actually like it more than Year of the Snitch. So I'm going to put it just above Year of the Snitch. I am going to rank them in the tiers as well. So this is going to go above Year of the Snitch. Next up, we have You Won't Get What You Want by Daughters. This is obviously... was given a 10 by Anthony Fantano. I didn't love it that much, if I'm being honest. It's not really my speed. I can recognize that it's a good album. It's twisted as hell. It is. It feels like you're in the depths of hell listening to this album. Obviously, the dude, the front man of this album, has some abuse allegations against Lingua Ignota, of course, which makes this kind of tough to listen to because it does cover themes of abuse and it covers very dark themes like that, so it is tough to listen to. But if we're separating the artist from the art, I'm still going to put it at this range right here. It's going to go above Playboi Carti, but still not one of my favorites. Future Perfect by Autolux. This was a recent reaction here, and I enjoyed this quite a bit. This was kind of a hidden gem requested by one of the Patreons, of course. Patrons. I don't know why I say Patreons. Yeah, this was pretty good. It's got some shoegaze. It's got some kind of pop vocals in it. It's got some indie type vibes. The drum or the guitar sounds are absolutely fantastic. I like the drums too. It's not anything mind-blowing, but I would probably put it above You Won't Get What You Want, but still in that kind of 6 to 7 range. Next up, we have Talking Book by Stevie Wonder. This is automatically going in the 8 to 9 range, probably the highest in here above Veteran. This is just musicality at its best. Stevie Wonder is an absolute icon. And yeah, I don't know if I like it more than Songs in the Key of Life. I haven't reviewed that on Album of the Year yet, but I would say it's probably below that, but it's still freaking amazing. Like the writing, the singing, everything about it, just fantastic. Some rap songs by Earl Sweatshirt. I didn't love this on a first listen, and I still don't really love it. It's going to go in this range right here. Probably going to go below Die Lit, though. It's probably in the kind of 6, decent 6 kind of range for me. I don't know what it is about it. I just can't really get into this project. Like, I don't think it's bad music at all. It's just not really my speed, and the beats are so sleepy and so woozy, and I guess I get that that's the appeal of it, but it's just kind of hard for me to get into that. Salad Days by Mac DeMarco. This is a pretty solid indie kind of project here. It's probably going to go just above some rap songs. It's not perfect by any means. It does lack a little bit of Can I speak? It lacks a little bit of variety, in my opinion. So yeah, it's nothing mind-blowing, but it's got some good singing. It's got some good production on it. The writing could be a little bit better, but overall it's pretty solid. Death Consciousness by Have a Nice Life. This is a tough project to talk about for me because obviously I was mind-blown on the first listen, and this thing absolutely shook me. Like, I almost had like a legit panic attack listening to this for the first time, but I don't return to it. Maybe I've returned to it once since then. I think I have. Obviously, I listened to it while editing, but I think maybe only one other time I've returned to it. It's really hard to listen to, and that doesn't necessarily make it terrible. I just think it's a little bit pretentious and a little bit difficult to listen to. Like, people love this album a lot, which I understand, but do I see myself listening to it? Like, the replay value really isn't there for me. A lot of the songs are very long-winded. It's kind of like Swans in my opinion, but I also, in the way that it's kind of long-winded and very ambitious and not much replay value, but I would actually rather return to Swans over this. So it's gonna be in this range right here, but it's probably gonna be maybe at the bottom of this tier, I'm thinking. Schlagenheim, this is absolutely fantastic. It's probably going to go... Actually, I'm going to put it just under Veteran, I think. I returned to it more than Veteran, but I don't think it's as good of a project as Veteran. It's definitely Black Midi's worst project, but it's still freaking solid. My introduction to them, I had no idea what was happening when I reacted to this. Jordy just went absolutely insane on the vocals. He has toned back the vocals a little bit, but I love the kind of unhinged, chaotic, animalistic vocals on this project, so this one's great, of course. Immunity by Clara, I don't know why I said it like that. It's probably gonna go maybe just above Salad Days. It's not as good as Sling, not even close in my opinion. The distortion on it sometimes is a little bit not welcome, like it feels a little bit forced and out of nowhere. Songwriting could be a bit better, but overall, it's still pretty solid. Charlie by Charlie XCX, her self-titled project. I liked this a lot on a first listen. I haven't returned to it much, but it's honestly shrunk on me a little bit. 1999 is great. There's some... Shake It is hilarious as well. There's some bangers on here, but I'm gonna put it... It's like a high 7, probably. Above Future Perfect for me. All My Heroes Are Cornballs, another one I don't return to that much. It's not better than Veteran. It's probably going to go in this low kind of 8 range right here. It was a little bit, actually, no, it felt actually harder to get into than Veteran for me for some reason. Yeah, I don't really have an emotional connection to it, but it's still experimental. It's still groundbreaking. It's still hilarious. Pony Here by Rex Orange County. This was a little disappointing because I was hyped going into this reaction. I was excited to see what Rex Orange County could offer. It's probably going to go just above some rap songs in this kind of range right here. There's a couple tracks where the production was really questionable and kind of overproduced. The singing at points was kind of weird. There was like an 80s kind of cut on it that was really awkward as well. Overall, it's not a perfect project. There are some great moments, like Pluto Projector, Always, I think is a great one. So there's some good songs on here. Rex has a great voice, but production, questionable. Some of the singing, questionable. Some of the sonic ideas he went for felt a little forced and awkward, so not great, but not terrible either. The Dreaming by Kate Bush. This is not as good as Hounds of Love, in my opinion. I don't return to it as much as Hounds of Love. Where do I put it? I had it kind of... I'm going to put it right behind Talking Book, I think. Obviously, it's even more kind of wild and out there than compared to Hounds of Love, in my opinion, but I think that is to its detriment a little bit. Overall, though, it's fantastic. Kate just goes for some insane vocal runs and styles, and just this album is insane. I love the songwriting on it. What is that one track? Suspended in Gaffa is insane. The one where she does... I think that's the one where she does that Australian accent. And then she turns into a mule at the end of the album. It's so unique, so creative, so different. Sensual World, this was a bit disappointing for me. It's gonna go in this range here somewhere, probably above You Won't Get What You Want, probably. I mean, it's still great because it's still Kate Bush, but it kind of loses that weird kind of flair that I've come to expect from her, which is fine. She doesn't always have to be weird, which I saw a lot in the comments was like people saying you shouldn't have gone into it expecting the weird Kate Bush. But to me, at least for what I've seen from Kate Bush so far, it's like, if you don't have the weird side of Kate Bush, what do you really have? I don't know. It's lacking a little bit. It's still pretty good. Still has some of my favorite Kate Bush songs, but not amazing. Nurture by Porter Robinson, probably behind I Lit, maybe? That's where I'm feeling it. I liked this on a first listen. I still haven't really got into it super hard yet. I'm still kind of a newbie when it comes to EDM and electronic music in general. But I do like the vibes on here. It's very bright. It's very natural sounding. It's very hopeful. The Turning Wheel by Spelling, a 10 by Anthony Fantano. I didn't give it a 10. I don't think it's quite that good. But it's a great art pop album. There's obviously some Kate Bush influence, of course, which I didn't know of. I didn't know of Kate Bush at the time when I reacted to this, but now I can definitely, when I go back to this album, I can definitely hear and kind of see that influence. It's great songwriting, it's great production, it's very mystical, very dreamy. I do like that the production is obviously a little bit more crisp because it is more modern than Kate Bush's stuff, so it does, like, the mixing feels a little bit more crisp and better. I'm feeling like the low 8 range, probably actually above. No, we're gonna go right here, right behind Schlagenheim. That feels fitting for that. I love that album. Fetch the Bolt Cutters. This is good. It's pretty minimal, pretty stripped back, pretty percussive. Not a lot of melody going on in the instrumentals, but she does carry a lot of the melody in her voice, and the vocals on this album are fantastic. Her bold, kind of powerful, and kind of almost disturbing energy on this album is very unique and very surprising and exciting. There's a lot of great writing to it too. It's pretty disturbing, like for her especially. Yeah, I just love the raw nature of it and the emotion in it. Maybe right here. Maybe, yeah, I'm feeling like right in front of Veteran. Mahavishnu Orchestra, what is this called again? Visions of the Emerald Beyond. This was my vinyl discovery kind of video. This was great. This was some insane like jazz stuff. I want to check out, what's it called? Intermounting Flame, I think, by them. This is a little bit hard to swallow. Like, it's a little bit, it feels a bit pretentious. It feels a bit, obviously it's musically complex, but it does kind of lack that emotional connection for me. It's gonna go in here, but it's probably gonna be low on this. Maybe just in front of All My Heroes Are Cornballs. All right, How I'm Feeling Now by Charlie XCX. It's probably my favorite Charlie album. It's gonna go in this range. It's probably gonna go just behind The Turning Wheel. Yeah, this kind of blew my mind on the first listen. I've never really listened to kind of an experimental, glitchy pop album like this. Production, insane. Charlie, great voice. And yeah, really unique and creative. And I mean, that album cover too. The Powers That Be by Death Grips. This was a kind of a tough one for me to listen to. This feels like a very difficult Death Grips album to get into. I'm feeling probably just above Charlie. That's probably a hot take because I know most people wouldn't have Government Plates or Year of the Snitch over The Powers That Be, but I just don't find myself returning to this that much. Obviously, it's one of their more kind of, was it the second half or the first? I think the second half is the more rock and punk kind of hardcore side to it, and the first half is more glitchy electronic. There's some great songs on here, some mind-blowing moments, but yeah, there's not much replay value to it for me, and it's really inaccessible for me. It's hard to get into. Sufjan Stevens, Carrie and Lowell, absolutely adore this project. You know, I'm gonna move Veteran down a bit. Veteran is gonna go right there. I don't think it's above these. Carrie and Lowell, I think right here maybe. I absolutely love this project. It's so heartbreaking, so sad, but so well done and beautiful. Sufjan's voice is just his whispered delivery. It's so calming, it's so gentle. The production is fantastic on this album. The writing, of course, is Sufjan's main appeal, and it's absolutely brilliant on this album. This album just tears my heart out. Like, it's freaking sad, but it's so good. Melt My Eyes, See Your Future by Denzel Curry. I think this is actually, is it his best project? It's close. I used to have Unlocked it as his best project, but I think this is a bit better. It's gonna be in this range, probably above this, maybe. Right here feels good, I'm feeling. I haven't returned to it that much. It's kind of gone under the rug, and I kind of forgot about it, but it's got a bunch of great songs on there. Like the lead single, Walkin', so good. It's got some jazzy production. It's probably Denzel's most introspective record and mature record yet. Obviously, he's at the top of his game in terms of his flows, his versatility, his writing, his delivery, the beat choices are amazing. Ain't No Way is probably one of my favorite songs of the year, so that's fantastic. I'm running out of breath. I'm just talking so much right now. Certified Lover Boy, the first, like, bad album we've gotten to here. It's gonna go in the 4 to 5 range, more close to the 4, I think. Yeah, it's not good. It's boring, it's sleepy, but it's also crazy that, honestly, Nevermind somehow was more boring and sleepy than this project, so, hey, I guess you gotta give it that. It is not as bad as, honestly, Nevermind, but it's still fucking terrible. This album sucks ass, man. It is so boring. It's bad. I've never been a huge fan of Drake. I mean, I was when I was first getting into rap, but I didn't really know anything at that time. But this is like an abomination right here. Clipping, what is this called again? Visions of Bodies Being Burned. I need to listen to more Clipping, man. I want to return to them. This is like one of the first albums I reacted to, and I really liked it. I haven't returned to the album that much, but I love the spooky vibes. The vocalist, I'm pretty sure he's the guy from Hamilton too, which is kind of cool. Yeah, the production is forward-thinking, experimental, and unique. Overall, it's a cool experience, really immersive experience. I don't return to it that much, but I'm gonna put it probably right here. Actually, I'm gonna put it in this tier right here, just over The Powers That Be. Next up, we have Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb by Tyler, the Creator. I think this album's a little bit overhated in my personal opinion. Is it great? No, it's going to be in this 6 to 7 range here. Probably just over some rap songs, maybe over. We're going to put it just over Pony. There's some bangers on here. There's some absolute bangers, but then there's a lot of mixing problems too, which a lot of people have pointed out. It's pretty creative in my opinion, but it's also pretty flawed, so I don't know. AJR, the boys. What are their names? What is it? Adam, Jack, and Ryan. The triplets. Are they triplets? I don't know. The trio of bros. The best musicians in the game. You already know. Is this a 2 or a 3, or is it a, I don't know. It's below Certified Lover Boy, definitely. I'm gonna put it in this range, this tier for now, because I think MGK's album is even worse. But yeah, this shit stinks. This shit is stinky. Just alternative pop, posing as something that's creative and different and unique, but it's really not. It's just generic millennial pop, and it's like some of the worst crap you'll ever hear. And thanks to Brad Taste in Music for getting me into AJR, or getting me into hating AJR. Currents. It's better than Lonerism. It's better than the Slow Rush. Did I get the Slow Rush on here? Oh, I didn't. Oh, I'm an idiot. That video hasn't released yet. Okay, well now I think I already posted that video is coming out. So the Slow Rush is coming soon. So I kind of just spoiled my thoughts a little bit on that, but whatever. This is Tame Impala's best album that I've heard. I still haven't listened to Inner Speaker, but this is probably we're going to put it high 7, probably at the highest point here. The psychedelic vibes are immaculate. The Off Season by J. Cole, kind of a pretty mid album here, in my opinion. I'm going to put it just above Certified Lover Boy. It's probably like a strong 5 for me. It didn't really do much for me. The beats were kind of boring. J. Cole was kind of boring. I know people hate on J. Cole all the time, but I kind of get it. I just don't really see the appeal with Jake Paul. Jake Paul? What? That's J. Cole and Jake Paul combined. Silk Sonic, An Evening with Silk Sonic, Bruno Mars, Anderson .Paak. This was a moment for sure in 2021. The singles were great. I don't think the deep cuts really lived up to the quality of the singles, in my opinion. Off of First Reaction, I liked it a lot more than I do now. It's kind of shrunk on me a little bit. It's probably like right here-ish, in that kind of high 7 range, I would say. Yeah, it's fun. It's a nice kind of throwback to that 70s kind of R&B, soul, funk sound. Jubilee by Japanese Breakfast here. This is I didn't love this on a First Reaction, if I'm being honest, and I still don't really love it that much. It's obviously kind of that indie pop kind of sound, almost some dream pop kind of flair to it as well. She just doesn't really grab me as a vocalist that much. Right behind Nurture by Porter Robinson. Yeah, I haven't returned to it much. It just didn't really connect with me. Who Cares by Rex Orange County here. This is better than Pony. I would probably actually I'm gonna move Autolux up a bit. Autolux is gonna go there. Who Cares is gonna go here. No, it's gonna go just below Charlie. There's some sweet singing. There's some really honest, vulnerable lyrics that make it feel almost just like a journal entry. Production is pretty nice. It's nothing mind-blowing, but it's produced and mixed better than Pony, definitely. All right, Sour, another early album that I reacted to that got a lot of hate. This reaction, oh my goodness, the Olivia Rodrigo fans are crazy, bro. Which I get, because, you know, this album isn't meant for me. I'm not the target audience, but I actually liked it. So I don't know what people were talking about in this video. Maybe I was just a bit too close-minded, and maybe my criticisms were a bit too, I can't think of the word, but maybe they were just kind of invalid. Because I remember saying stuff like the writing isn't mature and stuff like that, which is kind of inevitable because she wrote it when she was, what, like 17? It's probably going to go just above some rap songs. Maybe? No, I'm going to put it above Pony. There's some bops on there, man. There's some great catchy choruses. There's some good instrumentals. Obviously, there's kind of like a early 2000s, kind of almost pop punk, Paramore kind of vibe to it. It's pretty derivative and unoriginal, in my opinion, but that doesn't necessarily make it super bad. There's some bangers. Sinner Get Ready. This was a emotional, depressing beast of a album to listen to on a First Reaction. This is one of my worst first reactions, in my opinion, because the audio was terrible and I couldn't formulate thoughts because I was just like so tripped out by it. It's dark, it's mysterious, it's got a great atmosphere to it. It is wildly experimental and boundary pushing. It is not something I return to often, but I do respect the sound and ideas and approach a lot in the writing, and the vocal performances are so theatrical but so emotional. Fantastic, a fantastic record. It's probably gonna go just in front of The Dreaming. What's next? Hall of Fame by Polo G. I don't even know why I reacted to this album. I didn't like it. I don't remember why I reacted to this, but this is not good. This is not a good album. It's probably just above AJR. He's a more likable guy, definitely, than the bros. Yeah, it's still not great. Production is bland as hell. His writing's actually pretty decent on this, but the production is just so bad that it makes it kind of intolerable and unlistenable. Call Me If You Get Lost. Yes, this is such a good album by Tyler, of course. I didn't love it on a first listen, but it's freaking fantastic, man. It is so good. It's actually like a high 8, I feel like, for me. It's like a maybe even close to a 9. Obviously, I love the vibes of it. I love the travel kind of aesthetic, and the videos are great. Overall, Tyler's aesthetic is always amazing. He's rapping on this album. He's back to rapping, following Igor, of course. Production, fantastic. It's still got that lo-fi sound, but it just hits so hard. Probably his best performances out of any album in terms of rapping, in my opinion. This is a great album right here. What is this called? If This Isn't Nice, I Don't Know What Is by Still Woozy. Another album that I don't really know why I reacted to. I was intrigued to hear what this album was going to be like, because I was always a fan of Still Woozy singles, but this was kind of disappointing. Honestly, it's probably actually going to be in the 4 to 5 range. There's some good songs on here, but in terms of like a complete album that feels like a complete experience, it's not really there. Still Woozy, in my mind, is still kind of more of just a singles artist. All right, A Beginner's Mind by Sufjan Stevens and D'Angelo D'Augustine. This is a great record right here. It's not perfect, obviously. It's probably in this low kind of 8 range. It's beautiful. The writing is fantastic. The chemistry between the two is amazing. Even though their voices sound pretty similar, I think they complement each other more than take away from each other. Next album, Dawn FM. I'm not a huge fan of The Weeknd. Maybe I gotta check out his older stuff, but I've never been a huge fan of The Weeknd. This is gonna be in the 4 to 5 range, probably just below the Still Woozy record. Like, I respect the concept and the ambition of the record, obviously, with how it's kind of like a afterlife, kind of waiting in between whether you're going to heaven or hell. It's got that radio kind of theme to it, and it's got Jim Carrey doing the freaking narration. It's 80s, it's synthy, it's poppy. The Weeknd's, I can't deny that The Weeknd is a good singer, because he's a good singer. But he's one of those guys that I just don't connect with emotionally at all. And the writing on here is pretty bland and pretty boring. Kids by Mac Miller. I like this album a lot. For what it is, it's nothing deep. It's nothing super serious. It's a lot of fun. I like the production. It does feel a little bit dated at times, but it feels nostalgic too, so I like it. It's probably gonna go just below Currents, in my opinion. It's shrunk on me a little bit, but it's still pretty solid. Dark Side of the... Bro, this video is taking forever. I gotta go faster. Dark Side of the Moon. This is a classic, of course. I liked it quite a bit. It's gonna go just in... This is gonna make so many people mad. Should it go here? No, it's gonna go in here. I'm not a big fan of Robert... What's the lead singer of Pink Floyd? Robert Eggers? Is that his name? No, I don't know. Is that a director? I don't know. Whoever the lead singer of Pink Floyd is, I'm not a big fan of his voice. I do love the instrumentation. This project is trippy, feels nighttimey. It feels just psychedelic, and obviously it's extremely influential. Like, it's great. It's a good record. It's just his voice kind of makes me not enjoy it as much as I would like to. Hellfire by Black Midi. This continues to grow on me. This record continues to grow. This is the best one so far. Easily the best record on this tier so far. I love the concept of it. The performances are insane. Freaking instrumentation and the mixing is better than ever for a Black Midi record. Easily the best one so far. All right, Untitled Unmastered by Kendrick Lamar. Okay, this is Kendrick B-Sides, but they're freaking fantastic, obviously, because it's Kendrick freaking Lamar. This is honestly in that 8 to 9 range as well. It's probably gonna go... I'm gonna put it right here, right below Currents. It's throwaways, obviously, but even for throwaways, they're so good. It's still jazzy. It's still Kendrick at the top of his game lyrically and vocally. Masterpiece by Big Thief. I did not love this album. I was kind of hyped going into this, but it kind of disappointed me. It's probably going to be the highest in this tier right here, but it's like a decent 5 probably for me. Yeah, it was a little bit boring. The instrumentals really were lacking. So yeah, lyrically and vocally, she was great. There was a couple instrumental moments that I liked, but I felt like a lot of it lacked variety and a lot of it lacked flavor. Bottomless Pit, I gave this a 10. Believe it or not, I gave this a freaking 10 on my first reaction. I was absolutely blown away. I haven't returned to it that much. I wouldn't say it's a 10 anymore for me, but it's really good. It's really freaking good. It's probably just above The Dreaming. Yeah, it's visceral, it's hard-hitting, it is catchy, almost as catchy as The Money Store. It's one of Death Grip's best projects, so I absolutely love that. Unknown Pleasures by Joy Division. This is another one I don't return to much. I liked it on a first listen. It's hard for me to kind of get into the 80s kind of post-punk sound where it's really like dingy and reverby and like sounding like it's recorded in a basement. Obviously, it's a cool kind of effect to it, but it doesn't make me return to it that much. This is still good though. Just in front of Untitled Unmastered. What is this? Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino. One of the first ones I reacted to. This is pretty good. It's nothing mind-blowing. There's a couple great tracks on it. Right here feels like a good spot. Control, another infamous reaction for me that got so much freaking hate, which I get because my criticisms looking back on it were a little bit ignorant, I guess. And I guess I didn't articulate myself well enough in this reaction because it did seem like I was just a uneducated, uncultured kind of white boy just trashing on this album. And I actually still liked it. I think it was around like the 6 range for me off a first listen. It's grown on me a bit. It's probably going to go like right here. It's still not one of my favorites, but it's still pretty solid. SZA's still not one of my favorite vocalists. Again, she kind of just lacks the emotion in her voice that makes me connect to her. Food by MF Doom. This is a unique project right here. So some of the tracks are a little bit forgettable for me, but it's still so good. Probably like right here for me in that kind of mid kind of 8 range. MF Doom's on the top of his game here. Of course, production is pretty solid as well. And yeah, MF Doom is just, rest in peace, of course. He's just such a unique character. I love him. Loveless, or no, that's not Loveless. What is this called? What is this called? This is Melodrama by Lorde. This gets a lot of hype. It's pretty solid in terms of pop, I guess. The production has some weird kind of like Kanye influence on it, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of forgettable for me. I haven't returned to it like once since I've listened to it, if I'm being honest. There's a couple tracks that I returned to, but it's really not my speed, if I'm being honest. I do appreciate that it is pretty solid and the writing's pretty good. There's some catchy parts to it too, but just above some rap songs. No, the more I think about it, no, it's gonna go right here. Right here, just below Oh Rod. Self-titled by my boy, Playboy Cardi, the GOAT. This is a fun mixtape. Production could be a little bit better. Mixing could be a little bit better. Cardi's vocals aren't as wild as they eventually became on stuff like Whole Lotta Red or even Die Lit. Not as memorable. I mean, there's some great tracks like Magnolia is fantastic. Just above Pony. That feels fitting right there. Souvlaki by Slowdive. This is a great shoegaze project. Probably my favorite shoegaze project that I've listened to. It's gonna go just behind Call Me If You Get Lost. I don't return to it much, but when I do return to it, it just completely transports me. It's a little bit less distorted, a little bit less heavy. It's a little bit more dreamy than Loveless, but I love it. I love it. I love the vocals. It's depressing, but it's great. Another Slowdive record here, Pygmalion. This was a little bit disappointing. This was a little bit of a switch up from Souvlaki, obviously, which doesn't inherently make it bad, but it just lacked a little bit of punch at times, in my opinion. And some of the ambience wasn't even that interesting. You know, I'm going to keep it right here, actually. I'm going to keep it right here, just below some rap songs. Twin Fantasy by Car Seat Headrest. This is a great album. I love Will Toledo's writing on this, and I love his performances. He's a funny dude. Like, the lyrics are so tongue-in-cheek, but so hard-hitting and emotional at the same time. I love the kind of lo-fi DIY aesthetic of it. It's great. It's catchy at points, too. It is visceral. The grooves are great. Just in front of Veteran. That feels like a good spot. Amnesiac by Radiohead. Okay, this is kind of a forgettable Radiohead album for me. No, it's going to go right here, just below Die Lit. It's not their best outing, but it's still pretty solid. It's still Radiohead. Next album, I was doing AT Aliens by Outkast. This is a solid hip-hop album. I want to check out Outkast, more Outkast. Probably in this kind of 8 range here. The beats are great. The performances are great. I like the concepts of a lot of these songs. It does feel a little bit dated in terms of the production, but overall it's still freaking good. It's gonna go right here, just below Food. Cavalcade by Black Midi. I remember the first time I reacted to this, I called this a 10. It's not a 10, but it's still pretty good. Right here feels good. Right here feels good. It's better than Schlegenheim, not as good as Hellfire. We have Bloom by Beach House. Okay. This is better than Team Dream, in my opinion. In this low range, I'm going to put it right here, just below A Beginner's Mind. It's pretty good. It's vibey. It's warm. It's dreamy. I just think Beach House overall lacks a little bit of variety in terms of their albums. It does enhance the cohesiveness of it, but it does make it feel a little bit one note, their albums. But it's still great. I mean, it's still in the 8 to 9 range for a reason. Cosmic Grandma by Flying Lotus. This is great. This is a fantastic record. I need to listen to this more because it is so good. Below Veteran, maybe above. We'll put it above. It's just insane. The grooves are great. It's futuristic. It just... I just love it. It's so good. Let's see. Ex-Military here by Death Grips. Is it better? It's not as good as Bottomless Pit. I'm going to just say that right now. It's going to go right here, just below how I'm feeling now. I know we have 3 Death Grip projects right here, but hey, that's just how it goes. The Money Store, another Death Grips project here. Bottomless Pit just feels a little bit more hard-hitting. But this has some great hooks, some iconic Death Grips songs. Ride is insane as ever on here. It's going to go just above Fetch the Bolt Cutters. Demon Days by Gorillaz. I kind of like it more than Plastic Beach, if I'm being honest. It shrunk on me a bit, but I just love the MF Doom verse on one of the November Has Come is great. There's so many great hooks and catchy moments. No, it's going to go right here. Just in front of Mahavishnu. All right, let's move on to Funeral. What a fantastic record Funeral is. It's emotional. It is I almost said triumphant. It's not triumphant. It's grand. It's monumental. It's gonna go right here. Hail to the Thief. Do I like it more than Amnesiac? That's the question. Amnesiac and Hail to the Thief are both kind of mixed bags when it comes to Radiohead records. 2 + 2 + 5 is great. Mixomatosis is a banger. It's Tom York at his most strange vocally, I feel like. It's got some insane highs, some really low lows, in my opinion. I'm gonna put it just in front of You Won't Get What You Want. That feels right. Heaven or Las Vegas, another great dream pop / shoegaze album. I don't like it as much as Souvlaki, but I love the lead singer's voice. She has such a unique voice. Just behind just behind this. Just behind AT Aliens. This is all just kind of a gut feeling, you know? It Was Hot, We Stayed in the Water. Such an underrated project, in my opinion. I was blown away by this when I first listened to it, and I'm still blown away every single time. This is like a high 9 for me. It's the best one so far on this list. It is so emotional. The microphones just tap into a part of me that is so hard to reach for any other music. Pixel Bath, love this project. This is a great blend of genres. It's so colorful, so vibrant, just like the cover. It's saturated, but in the best way possible. Gene Dawson brings so much charisma, personality, and energy in his vocals. Kind of a combination. You got like trap in there. You got classic hip-hop, a lot of guitar-based songs as well. Some pop-punk almost stuff in there as well. It's gonna go just behind Currents. The College Dropout, absolute hip-hop classic. This is gonna be in here somewhere. There's a couple not great tracks on it, but overall it's just a classic. It is just a freaking classic. One of Kanye's best albums. It actually might be his best album. So many good songs, so many iconic moments. All right, Lonerism by Tame Impala. This is a bit worse than Currents in my opinion, but it's still pretty good. Right here feels actually fitting, just behind Die Lit. It's pretty forgettable for me, but it's still pretty solid. Loveless by My Bloody Valentine. Another one I haven't returned to much. I need to listen to this more, definitely. But in terms of shoegaze, it's great. I mean, the colors on this album are crazy. The distortion, just the soundscapes that they create is unlike anything else I feel like I've heard. It's a bit more distorted, a bit more heavy than Souvlaki, so inherently that makes me enjoy it a little bit less, because I do prefer the more dreamier side of shoegaze, I think. This album does, if I had to give it a critique, and if I had to give shoegaze a critique in general, if you listen to it too much, at least for me, it kind of gives me a headache, because it is just so much sound going on, so much distortion and just rough sounds right in front of the Money Store. That feels right. Mad Villainy, this is going to be super high up, I can already tell. It's close to a 10. I think it's going to go right behind Hellfire by Black Midi. It's just so good. Man on the Moon 1 by Kid Cudi. I like this project, but overall I don't really see the Kid Cudi hype. I guess it's just kind of he just doesn't really connect to me. I can see why people connect to him though. This is a pretty good project though. Right here. We're gonna give it right here. It's still pretty solid. Mount Erie by the Microphones. I know this is not the official cover, I don't think, but this is all I could find on Album of the Year. It's not as good as It Was Hot. It's not as good as The Glow Part 2. It's a lot to take in. It's a big pill to swallow, but it is pretty, I think it sticks the landing. It's like, it is pretty mind-blowing. I'm gonna leave it right here, just in front of Death Consciousness. No Love, Deep Web, another pretty solid Death Grips album. I'm gonna put it just below Unknown Pleasures. Not one of my favorite Death Grips albums. Pablo Honey, Radiohead's worst album, by far, easily. This is gonna go in this kind of range here. It's gonna go just in front of Certified Lover Boy, behind the Off Season. I mean, Creep is undeniably a good song, in my opinion, but then there's a lot of forgettable stuff on there, too. Plastic Beach by Gorillaz. Don't know if I like this as much as Demon Days. I think I actually prefer Demon Days, but this was still pretty solid. I love the atmosphere, and I love the kind of concept of it. It's probably gonna go about right here. Kid A, fantastic album by Radiohead. The biggest left turn in music history, as everyone says, right in front of Schlegenheim. All right, OK Computer, another fantastic record. I gave this a 98 on Album of the Year. It's almost a 10 for me. It doesn't quite reach that 10 mind-blowing mark, but I gave it a 10 on a first listen because I weeped to it uncontrollably. But living with it more, listening to it probably dozens of times now. It's not quite a 10, but it's really close. It's probably the best. It's the best on this list so far. Sound of Silver by LCD Sound System, a more recent one here. I like the dance vibes. I like the grooves. The songs can feel a little bit repetitive and a little bit long-winded at times, but I think the production's great. The sound choices are great. The singing is great. The closer is fantastic. I like the flow of the album a lot too. It's probably gonna go like right here. For me, it's kind of like a low 8. Spiderland by Slint. I don't really see the hype for this. I mean, it was good, but it was just a little bit, the vocals were hard to get into for me. I guess I can see the appeal. It's just not really my speed. Just behind Lonerism. That feels fitting. All right, Teen Dream by Beach House. Another one that's just kind of okay. It's not as good as Bloom. It's kind of in this range. Probably in front of just behind Dilit. The Bends by Radiohead. Pretty classic album here. It's not my favorite Radiohead album though. It's probably in this high 7. We're gonna put it, actually, no, we're gonna put it above. Just above Kid Cudi's album. Beirut, The Flying Cub Cup. Pretty mid. Pretty not good, in my opinion. Don't like the mixing. Singing's hard to get into. It's really not my speed at all. Yeah, I don't really see the appeal. It's probably better. It's actually better than Pablo Honey, but probably right here feels fitting. King of Limbs, this has shrunk on me quite a bit, actually. I kind of see why people don't love it now. I loved it on a first listen. It's just a little bit repetitive, a little bit uninspired, it feels like. It's actually probably behind both of these. Right here feels fitting, just in front of Immunity. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, an absolute classic. This thing is full of spectacular songs. Performances are great. Production, fantastic. Lauryn Hill is an absolute beast. Just below Mad Villainy. Great record. Watch the Throne by not by MF Doom, by Kanye and Jay-Z. Didn't love this album. Just in front of Driver License. Feels good. Wolf by Tyler, the Creator. Pretty solid album. Better than Cherry Bomb? Just right here. Behind Playboy Cardi. That feels good. And there's a bunch that didn't import into this for some reason. So I will just add them in post, obviously. Mainstream Sellout would go in the 0 to 1 tier. That shit sucks. It's bad. Wish You Were Here didn't end up in here for some reason, even though I tried to import it. Probably just in front of Joy Division, right in here. Grace by Jeff Buckley didn't end up in here for some reason. I like that one. Don't return to it much. It's probably just in front of Pixel Bath. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers grown on me so much. Kendrick's third best project, in my opinion. Just behind Cavalcade. Crash by Charlie XCX, a little bit disappointing, but still a pretty good mainstream pop record with some 80s flair to it. Just behind Amnesiac. Right here feels good. What else did we miss? We missed Ants From Up There, which is a 10. Ants From Up There is probably the only 10 on this list, I think. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, and easily my favorite album of the year. This Godspeed You Black Emperor, God's P at State's End. This is probably close to a 10 to just in front of Talking Book, just below Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. We are also missing Whole Lotta Red, just in front of Olivia Rodrigo, just behind Watch the Throne. Titanic Rising, great record. In front of Cosmogramma, just behind Twin Fantasy. Stranger in the Alps by Phoebe Bridgers, another pretty solid project. It's just in front of Currents by Tame Impala. We missed 808s and Heartbreak, which is, I think, this last one that we missed. 808s and Heartbreak, Kanye's, I feel like it's a pretty overrated album. I get the influence. I just don't come to it back to it that often. It feels a bit dated, and I just don't love the singing on it. Right in between Nurture and Jubilee. All right, that's going to do it for this tier list. I know this is kind of a janky video because some of them didn't import for some reason, which is really annoying. And this took, how long did I film? I filmed for a freaking hour. I did not think it would take that long, but here you go. Here is the tier. Obviously, the changes could be made, but this is all just off a gut feeling, how I'm feeling about these projects right now. There's been kind of no really major changes, but there has been some slight changes, of course. That's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This was kind of fun to do, looking back at all the albums I've reacted to, seeing all of these, and this isn't even all of them, but seeing all of this in front of me is kind of insane. Seeing that I've reacted to this many albums, and then I've listened to so many on top of that, not doing reactions to. So yeah, this was fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, dislike. If you disagree with my Pink Floyd takes, which I know lots of people do, tell me down below. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.